That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Oh, no tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.
Fairly alarmed here.
Welcome to the MOTN Countdown, where we make some of those hard cuts.
Hashtag hard tough cuts.
Toughcuts.org. I'm, of course, your host, Mike G. You can always find this Decisionary podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Google Play, as well as the normal truck rally. We hear revving engines all the time.
How about Maxim or, what's the Xbox one?
Which one?
Their app.
Oh, our Mixer.
Or Mixer. Are we going to be on Mixer here?
I hope,
shortly?
fingers crossed. Fingers crossed Microsoft deems us worthy to advertise on Mixer.
Excellent.
I'm absolutely ecstatic to welcome back to the show, Brian.
Hey, thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely, man.
Glad to be here.
Yes, sir, man. So you ready to make some hard cuts, some strong decisions, Doug?
It feels like my entire life has been built up to this moment for these hashtag tough cuts.
Tough cuts, man. So pretty much telling everyone what we're doing is we're doing a countdown. This episode specifically of our top 10 video games of all time.
Of all time.
All time. Since from 0 to today, which games stick out for you the best? What's your favorite and why? Needless to say that this was an extremely hard list to come by. Given the years of being a gamer and having to only use 10.
Like 10.
10.
And once you get past 5, it starts to get really choppy really quickly.
You can usually pick your first top 3 pretty easy.
Yeah.
Because those are the ones you think about almost every other day.
Yeah.
But once you got to start going into 6 and 7 and 4. And
it's like what separates one from the other.
men from the boys,
yeah,
man. So
absolutely.
let's get into this really quick. So we're going to start with number 10.
My number 10 all time. And let's preface this. This is over Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega,
Yes.
Game Boy, PlayStation, Nintendo 64, PS2, Sega Dreamcast, GameCube, Xbox, PS3, Xbox 360, PS4. There could have been some arcade games on here just as easily. That would have made this even
crazier.
Way more
That's
difficult.
a whole nother list all to itself, man.
We should have did an arcade list because
But that's a whole nother list.
That's crazy.
That's literally like, man.
So, you know, and that's where these are coming from. So my
From the
number
rooter to the tutor.
10 is Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
With
man.
CJ and the
CJ.
gang. And I have to be perfectly honest with you. The fact that I could go to the gym and work out and like get buff or get fat based on how much I don't know why they took this out of GTA games.
Man.
They had a realism in that game that could have been seen as monotony for some.
Right.
But I thoroughly enjoyed it, and every GTA game I've played since, I've been like, why won't you just give me what you gave me?
It's
in San
funny.
Andreas?
It's funny because you think of JRPGs, you think of the word grinding, which is it is playing certain things over and over to boost your experience in the game. And this is the first time I can think of where it was just a strictly American company, Rockstar, built grinding in a game in a weird way. Because CJ gets stronger the more you lift weights.
Yeah.
CJ gets better at something the more you do that something.
You can play basketball in
Right.
that game.
It's weird.
Now
It's
you
dope.
can play tennis. They have like basketball court, but you can't interact with it.
Right.
It seems like they've taken away from GTA since San Andreas, and I know that's silly to say that with 5, but all 5 offers, in my humble opinion, is, you know, an online component that I don't necessarily give 2 rips about.
Right.
So it's just calling a spade on that.
Calling a spade,
Yes,
man.
GTA San Andreas number
San
10.
Andreas.
What is your number 10, Mike G?
Number 10. Man, my number 10, which is kind of funny given that today is today, and I don't want to date these because I want you to be able to listen to them whenever. but that's fine. My number 10 is Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts, man. I remember this game very fondly because I remember the commercial. And the commercial for this game hit me on so many different levels that I couldn't handle it as a kid. It was the whole Disney aspect. It was the crossover with Square Enix at the time. Thinking of, well, how can they do a Disney / Final Fantasy game? And then the simple and clean song just hit that right note of interest. It was like seeing Jurassic Park for the first time. I was like, what is the name? Which was a Disney head. The gameplay was on point. I loved the world that it was building. I love that you got to build a little gummy bear ship that you can fly around. I love how Sora got to change into the motif of the worlds he was visiting. That was cool to me. Like to see him in Atlantica as a mermaid, to see him in Winnie the Pooh world floating around. It was just something different, and it was one of the original RPGs that I played. But yeah, man, I absolutely love me some Kingdom Hearts from the bottom of my heart. One of my favorite games of all time.
It's definitely memorable. It has that child wonder to it when you definitely first play it, and today being a interesting day for that type of news. So,
it's one of those games that had me from moment one, man. From moment one. What is your number 9? Number nine.
Bobby D, number 9. Bobby D sets the night on fire. My number 9 should have been higher, but honestly,
hard cuts.
So it fell simply based on the length of time. But my number 9 is Journey. Journey was. I sat hour and a half, whatever that was, and it was an experience from top to bottom.
Yeah.
This random person wound up helping me along the way, and I can't say I've teared up for many games at all, but when Journey was done, I was having some feels, some major emotional feels, and I had the high definition, the 52-inch, and it was like a Sunday afternoon, and it just hit me in the heartstrings. So
I played Journey, man, and it's unlike anything I've ever played since, because it, without words, mind you, without leaderboards or without any of the nonsense that comes with the gaming experience, quote unquote, it's a story that you control with someone that you don't even know, and you've made a friend that you'll never know. You just went on this journey. Literally, you went from head to toe. The experience was had, and it is what it was.
And it feels like a long journey. Like, it feels like, holy crap! What am I doing? Like,
it's a beautiful experience,
absolutely.
Man.
So, number 9, Mike.
Number 9. Oh man, hard cuts, man. This would have been higher on another day, but like you said, how I felt at the moment, I feel like my list is perfect. So I think this perfectly fits where it needs to fit on this list, given its company. And the game that I'm talking about today, my number 9 is Devil May Cry.
DMC.
Devil May Cry on the PlayStation 1?
PS1, yeah.
I remember
Dante.
I didn't know what to make of this game when I first saw it. I remember seeing the cover, because usually you bought by cover back in the day.
Yes.
And I saw this cool dude with his big ass sword. And it reminded me of old Nintendo games like Ninja Gaiden and Strider. You know what I'm saying? Like the side scroller action games where you would jump on stuff and do cool combos in mid-air. But it was the first time it was done in 3D in a full setting. It was like Resident Evil 2, but an action game. It had these beautiful set pieces.
And the story, narratively,
the narrative was insane.
Freaking amazing.
I mean, it's legendary now. Dante, Nero, Lady, the action sequences, the beginning intro of the game is legendary.
I think that's one that everyone played. That was like a must-have in everyone's collection. Once you had it. In back in the day, we didn't necessarily play by cover, but we had these cool things called magazines that came with sample
tips and
discs.
tricks. sample disc,
Sample
EGM.
disc, yes, where you could actually play a little bit. And I remember playing a little bit in a sample disc package.
You do these sword stinger combos and
like swords and guns.
and
This is
pizza.
cool.
It was so cool. It was like beyond cool.
Yeah.
So Devil May Cry, I've played. I own 1 through 3 original copies. I own 4. I own DMC. I own the HD collection. I'm in there. Like, no one can tell me nothing about Devil May Cry. It's my joint. I love it so much.
And anyone out there who has a time machine, you may want to go back and put some money on Vegas and E3, considering Mike G's list here. So, no spoilers.
No
but,
spoilers.
You know, I'm just throwing it out there.
Just, man, I wish you had a time machine, man. Number 8. What's your number 8?
Up, down, down, left, right, BA, start. My number 8 is Contra. Contra.
That was on my short list.
It was a late entry. A friend of mine mentioned. He's like, dude, Contra, and I went, oh my god,
Contra.
And this is where I started to go Desert Island. I'm gonna have to go Desert Island type picks. And Contra is hard as shit. With
I
reload.
love me some Contra, dude.
Hard.
And
I don't know time when you're a child goes by in a different amount, but I spent massive amounts of time playing Contra.
I remember feeling so satisfied as a kid playing Contra because that was one of the games I could beat because of the up, down, left, right, BA start Konami code, which is legendary now.
Absolutely.
It's on shirts and everything.
Yeah, people have it tattooed on them.
Right? Contra, it'd be Red Man, Blue Man. And I remember even Akari Warriors, which was the very first game to use that code. Before Contra.
Oh, yeah, Konami Warriors.
Yeah,
How about that?
Akari Warriors, man. It was the same 2 dudes. Funny fact, those same 2 dudes are the guys that are in Metal Slug, and the same 2 guys that are in King of Fighters.
I did not
It's
know
one
that.
weird little truck.
But I do want to go. Man, that arcade, like, top 10, huh? That Akira Warriors with the joystick.
That's a
has
whole
to
nother
be
list,
there,
man.
right?
That's a whole nother. Bruh, dude.
So, Contra. Fan favorite, hard as shit. I dare you to beat it with 3 lives.
I dare you to beat it real.
Good luck.
Beat it for real.
And I want to... We've never gotten a proper sequel to Contra. Every
know what?
Contra that they've ever made after Contra was like...
There's
this is
one
like
Contra that's good. That's not the first Contra, and it's called Hardcore. It was like on the PS2, and it was super good. It was like an anime style. Oh, and Conquer. It was Contra Shattered. What's the name of it? It was like on the PS3. It was like Contra Shattered Order or Shattered Warrior or something like that.
Pretty good, huh?
Really good. It was like almost like a bullet hell, almost.
Well, bullet hell. I tell you what, if Sony wants to sponsor this, I'd be happy to hop onto PlayStation Now and give it a go.
I would play Contra right now, man. Oh, this is good.
Is your number 8?
Number 8. Number 8's one of those games that just, if I was into going to Time Machine, this is a moment that I would want to go back to and just live for like 6 months and just be in my own body when I first started to play this game. And that is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time.
Turtles in Time. Bebop, Rocksteady.
Bebop, Rocksteady, the Super Nintendo version with the additional characters and stages. It was part of my Super Nintendo beginners pack as a kid. This came with, I don't want to drop any other names because some may appear on this list, but Super Nintendo was my childhood console.
Right.
I mean, when I got a little older, it was PlayStation, but nothing holds in my heart like the Super Nintendo.
Absolutely not.
That was the when I was old enough to understand games, to want to ask for them, and to beat them myself without my dad's help or my cousin's help. And Turtles in Time, from the music to the gameplay to the interaction, you can throw people into the screen.
That was fantastic.
You got to pick your favorite turtle, and you never had to fight with your cousins on which turtle you wanted to use because everybody liked different turtles. So if I wanted Leonardo, no one's going to bug me about it. I can just play as Leo.
As a background to what you're saying, it's funny, number 8 and you're number 8. My mornings were spent as a child. I would go over next door to this dude's house, I don't really remember his name, Ed or something like that. And we would play Country before school.
Yeah.
And then we'd go to school and we'd stop at Dunkin' Donuts and get a donut. And they had a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game that we used to play.
dude.
And then we'd go to school right after that. And that was like our daily morning ritual.
Man,
So
I would
think
play
it's really
Turtles in
fun
Time with my
to
cousins
play
until my dad got home. And then when my dad got home, he wanted to play Street Fighter. So we'll play Street Fighter 2.
Street Fighter.
So that's my number 8. Turtles in Time. Big Apple, 3 a.m. Fighting Super Shredder on top of the Statue of Liberty. Epic game. Great multiplayer game.
Fantastic.
What shall be your number 7?
Number 7.
Number 7.
Ogre Battle. Some of you
Ogre
know it.
Battle.
Some of you don't. Super Nintendo, RPG, real-time strategy. You have well over 99 to 199 different types of ogres and wizards and whatnot to use, and you literally have to grid out the map up and down, and you find secret stuff. No two games are alike. Absolutely fantastic. It is an absolute desert island game. You can play that
Nice.
for hours. Ogre
Nice.
Battle. If you haven't played it, fire up a ROM and get on that right
Man,
now.
I'm personally never played it. It sounds dope. It sounds like it would be right up my alley. And what's cool about the Super Nintendo, what system was this on? You said Super Nintendo? It had so many gems that just could have just fell on ears. Like, I didn't play any of the Final Fantasies on Super Nintendo. So I was just too young.
Oh, wow.
I had no experience with Final Fantasy games on the Super Nintendo. It was other shit.
Wow.
It was other things like some of the things
Right.
on this list. It just falls on different radars. You play them different. I didn't play Final Fantasy 3 till I was like in college.
Wow.
And then I loved it there. And it was like my favorite Final Fantasy, you know.
Absolutely.
Man, gotta love the SNES, man.
SNES. I mean, I could do an all-time SNES list.
It's
Actually,
easy.
If we did a systems list, that's going to be tough cuts there too.
Oh, yeah.
Because SNES.
SNES is my favorite system outside of.
I mean,
SNES is my favorite system. I'm sorry, call me nostalgic.
3.
PlayStation 3 is strong. PlayStation 2 was strong. The Dreamcast, for me personally, was strong. Got some good games on that.
And I was a Nintendo kid too. So, what's your number 7?
7. Number 7 for me is probably this is one of those games that would definitely be higher on this list if it wasn't for hashtag hard cuts, man. Like, oh my goodness, this list was tough. But I had to look at my heart of hearts and really gauge time spent, how much it's changed my personal life kind of nonsense. And the game I'm talking about for my number 7 is Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Wow.
New Age of Heroes.
Wow. Dropping the fighting bomb right away.
From people who've listened to this podcast before, they know I love me some fighting games. I'm a fighting game head. I've been playing them since as I name dropped earlier, Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo. And when I played this for the first time in the arcades, the back arcade list, this would make it. It was just an amalgamation of all my favorite games I've ever played, from Marvel superheroes to X-Men vs. Street Fighter to X-Men Children of the Atom. It had all those. It had 60 plus character roster. It had that crazy jazz music in the back, and you just make
Epic
your own
art.
team. Epic art.
The art style dropped, and we
Epic
were all
art.
like, "What
is?"
bleep?
And I was just waiting. I bought a Dreamcast just to play this game, because all the other ports were going to be garbage. This was okay. This is the system seller.
And who is your all-time favorite character? Marvel versus.
Oh, okay. This is a very good question. You want my You want my team?
Hey, what's your team?
My team is Spider-Man, Akuma, and Doctor Doom.
Spider-Man, Akuma, and Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
I mean, if Marvel dropped a movie with that right now, I'd watch it. So.
And that list fluctuates. So
That
you
fluctuates.
You sub in Cable, you sub in Venom, you sub in Storm, you sub in Captain Commando, you sub in Jill Valentine.
Depending on the time of season, ladies and gentlemen, Mike G will own you in some Marvel vs. Capcom.
You come find me, and we'll have a 1st to 10, and we'll see how it goes down. You know what I'm saying? That's my number 7, man. What is your number 6?
Number 6.
Number 6.
Super Mario 64.
Ooh, I knew that. I knew.
Super Mario 64.
I knew the plumber was going to show up at some point in this list.
I was not going to put the Love Pump Plumber on the list, but that game was revolutionary when the 64 came out.
I remember.
I decided that I was not respecting the plumber enough, and I decided to put the plumber in the list at a position where he ranks, because if this was a desert island, you can play some Mario without getting bored. I mean, Mario can keep you busy.
I was like, I just want to play Mario. Like, I got this. I'm thinking about just going to my local game shop and buying one of those weird little Super Nintendo Genesis combos and just playing me some Mario and playing me some Sonic. Like, forget these crazy games. Like, I just want to play Mario.
Super basic.
Jump, run. Get the music nostalgia.
Don't die.
You know, go down and get all the stars.
Coins.
Get all the was it coins or stars?
Coins.
No, it's in 64. You have to collect 100 stars, and that's how you get Yoshi.
4, yeah. Yes.
And the ice levels and the weird haunted houses. Love me some Mario 64. I didn't have a Nintendo 64 as a kid.
Oh, that was probably my second. Oh God.
My mom. That was one of those.
System.
I just didn't get it.
Nintendo.
I had to go to my buddy's house where he had Wave Race and Mario 64. And
that's what it dropped with.
Yes. And GoldenEye 007.
GoldenEye 007. Yeah, I'm just gonna say.
Yeah,
did not make the list. Should have thought about it. It's on another list, but did not make this one.
Tough cuts.
Hashtag tough cuts.
Hashtag tough cuts.
007.
Number 6. My number 6. This is one of those games I didn't even think about till I made this list. I was like, it's totally out of my mind, but it wasn't. And this game is Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2.
That's fantastic.
I love this game.
That's fantastic.
I've beaten this game to completion, meaning 100% in it within the campaign, maybe 40 or 50 times. Every configuration, every light side and dark side contingency, I love it.
I can never play dark side.
I play dark side because I wanted the buffs, man. It wasn't even about me being a completist. I just love everything about it. I love the atmosphere. I love that you can use different color lightsabers. I love that you can use 2 lightsabers. You can use the Darth Maul dual saber.
Narrative.
I love the narrative.
You wake up, ships on fire.
Like, what's happening?
What is going on?
You're the exile, man.
Like, let's go to work.
You manipulate your friends so that, they become either light side or dark side. The ending, the revelations, the grinding. It's my favorite.
It's good grinding.
It's very good grinding.
It's good grinding.
I was in a Sith cave grinding these beasts because there's one level where if you use life drain, you can boost your XP like that really quick. So I was in there maybe 5 hours. Just had me a drink, put on some music. And I was just getting it, man. I got my guy all the way to the top level in that one room. I was like, okay, I can do whatever I want now. I could just coast through the game.
That's fantastic.
And I would do that every single time with different. And when you turn and based on your alliances, your skin tone changes.
Oh yeah,
you become all crusty and busty.
That was the first time we were seeing that. Not to mention Star Wars. Solo, not necessary. Knights of the Old Republic, maybe. Star Wars, if you're listening to me, please stop.
And just make a Knights of the Old Republic movie.
Just please stop.
Or a television series. Something.
Take your bundle of money and just
go home. Because Knights of the Old Republic is honestly the best Star Wars lore because it doesn't involve any of the hang-ups.
And it's fantastic. It's fantastic. So
that's my number 6, man.
Number 6, all right.
Number 5.
Number 5. Number 1
4.
through 5, fairly easy. Was able to knock these out. They're all run fairly... They were all epic. I play any one of them right now.
Nice.
Number 5, Uncharted 2.
Ooh, is that Drake's? What is the one? Is that Drake's?
That is Uncharted 2. Drake's first one is
Drake's Misfortune.
Second one is. I'm gonna take my geek card away from me.
No, man. They all have weird sub names like Drake's is. Jeez, but one thing about Uncharted 2,
Among Thieves.
And I didn't get into this game, man, until the second one.
My good. Well, I played the second one first, and then went back and played the first one. That was a mistake. Because that first one,
I've never played the first one.
The controls are broken. It's kind of like playing Mass Effect 1. It's just broken.
Yeah.
But Uncharted 2, from the word go, my mouth was wide open and my heart was pounding. And it's one of those rare games since I've been an adult where I sat and finished in one playthrough. It was I started like 4 o'clock in the afternoon and wound up finishing at like 5 o'clock in the morning.
That
I was
opening
like, this is fantastic.
Train scene.
Amazing.
One of the best moments in video games.
We had never seen anything. We had not seen a set piece like that.
It was
to date.
Naughty Dog, bro.
Naughty Dog brought the house.
Brought the house down. And since that, it was one of those games, like you said, as an adult, I marathoned that game.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't put it down.
No.
Couldn't put it down. Oh, man. Number 5 for me. Number 5. This is a game that I just have so many fond memories, hanging out with friends and playing and making new friends and making new enemies and having my own little anime based around this game in my young youth. And this was Namco's own Tekken 3.
Oh, wow.
Tekken 3
going like Warcraft.
No, Tekken 3 specifically. As I mentioned earlier with my Marvel vs. Capcom 2 pick, I am a fighting game fan, and most of my best video game memories are wrapped around all the neighborhood kids coming to a local place. We all huddle around each other and run sets on Tekken 3. And that was the game I was the best at. I was the basement king of my little group of 10, 12 kids, neighborhood kids. So they would meet at my friend's house. Their parents would order pizza and we would drink sodas, and we would run sets into the night playing Tekken 3, playing as Lei Wulong and Makujin and Jin Kazama and the soundtrack.
And your favorite Tekken 3 character?
Lei Wulong. Every day, all day. He does drunken style. And this was back when I was getting into Kung Fu movies, like the old school ones, like Snake Eagle Shadow, Mystical Kung Fu. You know what I'm saying? Like the old school ones. Mystery of chess
70s.
boxing. The 70s, you know what I'm saying?
60s,
The 60s. And we just found them as kids. Like, no one said, watch these.
No.
We would go to our local movie store and pick up Golden, Man with the Golden Arms. And that translated perfectly into Tekken. Because we got to play as our favorite characters. And my favorite Kung Fu star was Jackie Chan. My buddies was Gordon Liu. My other buddies was, of course, Bruce Lee, Jet Li. But mine was Jackie Chan. I love me some Fearless Hyena, some Project A-ko, I think is the one where he dresses like Street Fighter characters. He dresses like Chun-Li, does a spinning bird kick.
I don't remember that one.
But yeah, Tekken 3, my favorite. It's a tie between that and Marvel. It's higher on the list than Marvel 2, but between those two, I can't pick up like my favorite between the two. They're so iconic in my life. Like, I had so many different groups of people I hung out with playing each game.
That's great. And we have Tekken 5 coming out. So again,
you mean Tekken 7's coming out.
7, pardon me.
Tekken 7 is out. Soul Calibur 6 is what's coming out.
Soul Calibur 6 is
and
what's
that was
coming.
a great, oh yeah.
I'm sure we may talk about it later.
What
Number
is your
4.
Number 4.
Number 4, like Uncharted 2, also a sequel. I'm talking about Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2, man. You want to
talk about a console seller?
Like, this game blew my freaking mind. The choices, BioWare, the fighting, the controls, everything was on point, perfect. Whether or not your crew lived or died, that last epic raid, all of it from top to bottom, 5-star.
It was the first time in a video game that I really felt stakes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt scared for certain characters because if you didn't do something right, you knew they were going to die. And my favorite thing about the Mass Effect series is that your created character follows you through the entire series if you do it right. So my guy that I created in 1 was in 2, and they just set the same face print. I didn't have to rebuild them. Mike Shepard made it to number 2. He made it, and you get to fall in love with these characters. You get to pick the ones you like, the ones you don't like, the romances, the misromances.
I You know, that's
The
my
gameplay.
reoccurring theme is, you know, just epicness from top to bottom.
The set pieces, yeah, like some telekinesis moves. What kind of
I
guns
always
you
played
use?
telekinesis.
Yeah.
I always played the bio.
That game had me sweating.
Yes.
It was
for
so
sure.
tense.
And that's another one that I put large amounts, chunks of time in. Where like 10 hours. Oh, that was a 10-hour session? When was the
Damn.
last time I played a game for 10 hours? The Uncharted 2. Anyway.
Man.
What is your number 4, Mike?
Number 4. Man, we're getting to this list, man.
We are.
Number 4 is a desert island game.
Desert Island.
It's a game where you can ask me at any time in my life, do you feel like playing this? I'm down. Let's play it. And my number 4 is Super Mario World on the SNES.
Yoshi.
Yoshi. The birth of Yoshi.
What the heck?
A new crisper version of Mario. The different worlds, the soundtrack.
Soundtrack amazing.
The game felt good. Like, it's till this day it holds up.
To this day, you can
It feels
Super
tactile.
Mario World, absolutely.
Super Mario World holds up so good, like graphically, controller-wise, and everything is good about it. Name a flaw. The game is perfect.
I wonder how many top 10 lists the plumber doesn't make it on.
It's so iconic to everyone's childhood who wasn't born yesterday. And even kids who were born yesterday have, like, Mario Odyssey.
Right.
They have Mario Galaxy.
When the world is gone, it's going to be a battle between the mouse and the plumber.
The mouse and the plumber and cockroaches.
Right.
They're all going to
so-
be fighting. But yeah, Super Mario World is my Mario game. And trust and believe between this and 3 was the fight of, like, which do I love more? And honestly, I have fonder memories playing World on the floor of my mom and dad's place, and just being in total euphoria. Just the music, the game,
Mario World.
playing Super Mario World, man.
Fantastic.
What's we're getting to it, man.
Yeah, we're almost down to the number 1, and my number 3 is actually
3.
going to be a repeat of one that you said a tad bit
Interesting.
earlier.
That's all right.
And that is Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic 2.
Specifically, right?
Specifically.
Isn't that game just great?
Specifically, we've had a lot of carryovers or a lot of parallels so
Yeah.
far. So I think it's quite funny how, I mean, we're from completely different areas.
Yeah.
You're from Los Angeles. I'm from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Like,
Worlds apart.
worlds apart, and the games are very similar in parallels. So, you know, what hasn't been said about Star Wars already is that we could use, you know, another one. Stop with Battlefront. Give me Knights of the Old Republic 4
It's
or something. I don't care.
it's
Just
the shot in
give
the
me
arm
that.
that a decades-old franchise needs.
For sure.
One of the best things about this game is so fresh. There's no Skywalkers. There's no
Revan,
Imperial. There's no
man. Like-
Darth Revan is one of the best characters in Star Wars history.
And there's so many fond memories around this game, and just
Yeah.
our 2 list tells this. Like,
Yeah.
if Lucasfilm's not like, oh, well, we need to be on this because 2 random people
from different worlds.
top 10 list,
Top 10. Both.
20-year-old game,
20-year-old
Yeah.
game that
You know.
still stands up. Like, I was telling you the other day, and I was like, I've been waiting for them to port KOTOR 2.
My
Like,
goodness.
waiting. Like, I wanted to play it so bad, and I was willing to buy an Xbox One just for the opportunity to play a backwards compatible game. And I don't own my Xbox original anymore. Like, just port the game, and they're finally going to do it. And it's a flawless game in my opinion. I love it so much.
Well, you said they're going to do it, but I have not
Fingers
to see
crossed,
any proof
man.
of that.
I've yet to see proof
recently.
either,
So,
my friend.
Your number 3 game.
My number 3, man. I think this is a game that's probably going to have some overlap as well, but this is a game that got me through college a little bit. It's a game that it's one of those 20, 40 playthrough classics, and that is Fallout 3.
Fallout 3.
Fallout 3. I remember playing that and being wowed at its production because I didn't know what a Fallout was.
Bethesda, ladies.
Bethesda, man. You start as a baby and you grow up, dude.
It was unlike Fallout 2, that's for certain.
And
Like, what?
you learn these new systems and it feels so natural,
You have
special. You have
And you have nukes.
you have nukes and you have super mutants and you have detailed. You have a whole world to This is the first truly open world game I've ever played, where it's like point in a direction, walk there, have a good time.
And you're just walking.
You're just walking. You're listening to 1950s music. You don't know why it sounds cool, but it sounds cool. You run into a side mission. You get a cool new gun, or you fight a cool monster, and that's just one direction. That's a game you don't even have to touch the main storyline.
No, and I
hundreds of hours of gameplay.
I absolutely didn't. Absolutely did not touch the main storyline for a while. And then when I wound up beating it, I was so thoroughly satisfied with the ending of that game. I was like, I
started
start
it right
over.
up. Started it right back up.
Over, like,
started
run it
right
back,
back
bro.
up. I'm gonna do stealth this time.
Like, run it back. So good.
I had a Freddy Krueger build that I went, because this is like my 14th, 15th run, where it was all stealth. I made a Deathclaw gauntlet, and I got the ghoul mask with a sweater on.
That sounds like a ton of fun.
And I was going around hiding in the shadows and waiting for people to pass. I would just one claw him. I would go into VATS, and I would one shot hit him, and I would listen to Nightmare on Elm Street soundtrack while playing. It was a blast, dude.
Ladies and gentlemen, you do not want Mike G in your dreams, apparently.
No, you don't, man. It's not gonna go good for it. Not gonna go good for any of us involved, dog.
That's great. Your number 3 again runs parallel with my number 2.
So let's keep talking about it.
Yeah, I mean number 2. Might as well get to it. Bethesda. My number 2 is the Elder Scrolls Oblivion, and it's simply because, like, walk in any direction, point. Here's some magic and a sword. Like, sign me up now.
Sign me up, man.
Like, if we could go in a virtual reality world where it's like permadeath, I would go into this world.
I would give it a shot.
I'm in.
Because you don't have to live.
School, I'm in. Let's go.
Yeah, put me in the Archmage's magician school.
Fun fact: over 300 hours in Oblivion. I have never beat that game.
Sounds about right.
Because there is so much to do,
so much,
and I still haven't done it all. And
it's funny you say that because it runs parallel to my number 2. About 350 hours played, never beat the game. Never fully beat it.
What's the number 2?
My number 2, mind you, this is a fairly newer game, and it's my number 2 of all time. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
Oh, God, I should have known that was coming.
The Witcher 3
Deep
Wild Hunt is one of the deepest... if you want infinite...
You haven't beat it?
No. I still have the last DLC to do.
Oh, wow.
I can't bring it to my... I get emotional. I can't bring myself to beat it. It's like letting go of a good friend.
Yeah.
This came out, what, PS4?
PS4.
And I had no expectations. I never played 1, never played 2, and knew it was a backstory, knew it was based off books, but I just jumped into it like a Fallout 3. And once you get out of the training area, the stories are so well written that each one just tugs on a heartstring. There's side missions. There's another game where you can put in 150, 200 hours and never touch the main storyline. You can go learn different things. You can swim in oceans. You can climb mountains. You can conquer villains. You become the villain. You could be the hero. You could start fights with guys on one side of the town and do a side quest 40 hours later with those same guys who happen to travel where you would say, hey, it's him. They remember you.
They do remember you.
Witcher 3. Geralt of Rivia has become one of my... Geralt of Rivia. Become one of my favorite characters of all time.
And do you play Gwent?
Yes, I play Gwent heavily.
Okay.
I was mad. I'm going to tell you. Player. There's a point in the game where it's a point of no return. And certain side quests get blocked off. And it's and mind you, this is like the 70-hour mark. And I have yet to get my Egyptian god card, Geralt of Rivia Gwent card, and I forgot. So I passed it, and I wanted to play more Gwent, but I never had the Geralt of Rivia card. It made me so frustrated because I would play games of Gwent. Because I put at least 20 hours in Gwent by itself. I just played. Because it was so much fun. An internal game, it's like it's like a triple triad for Final Fantasy.
Correct.
Internal game. Why is it so good?
Love those internal games.
There's such little Easter eggs that you can just completely ignore and
come back to
whenever you're. I'm bored playing I'm kind of tired. I'm gonna end the game with maybe an hour of Gwent.
And
Easy.
It's like 2 hours of Gwent you end up playing.
Yeah, I love it. So, Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is my second favorite game of all time.
All time.
So
All time,
good.
ladies and gentlemen.
Like,
Project Red.
yeah.
Good job.
CD Projekt Red. Like you said, game that actually made me weepy after beating the main story. Got me there. I had kinds of feels, dude. I didn't want to let go. It was like separation anxiety.
That's when it's.
I don't want to
best,
beat
when
it
the
because I
feels
don't want it
come
to
up.
ever end.
Well,
You know, it's
sooner-
weird.
No, I have that way with actually television shows. That's
You know?
why I haven't watched Smallville season 10.
Yeah, I don't want to
And
let it go.
I heard
man.
it's terrible, so
Yeah.
I'll just skip.
Yeah, man. If you ain't seen it, it's not real, man.
Number one. We're
Number
here,
one.
man. We're at number one.
Number
and
one.
My number one all-time game has been my number one all-time game literally since I played it. And I had the book, and all I remember are nights playing it, thunderstorms, rain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was pasta in this book. Or, like, I freaking love this game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Final Fantasy III by Square Enix.
Final Fantasy.
It was the
3.
first time the multiple character aspect was introduced in games, and I believe you had 16 to 24 characters, and
Right.
everybody had different abilities in the leveling up system. And God forbid when you had to remember the opera. And to this day, I'll wake up some mornings and I'm like, that damn opera's in my head, and it's like, my goodness, really?
How do I let this go?
I had so much fun with that fucking game, and if that was my last meal, if that was the only game I could play for the rest of my life, I'd be very, very happy doing it.
Man,
No
epic
complaints.
game.
So,
I mentioned my
way to go,
experiences with
Square
FF3.
Yes.
I absolutely love it. I coincide with everything you say. Fuck that opera. Oh my goodness, I love it. I love it. Don't get me wrong.
It was
but
we
man,
had never seen anything like it.
nah,
Nothing
at all.
And my mind was blown. And the art style for that also fantastic. And the music when it started up, the soundtrack for Final Fantasy III is fantastic. So,
Beautiful, man.
if you haven't played Final Fantasy III or 4
Find it,
in Japan,
emulate it. Find it,
on
emulate
that.
it, get your hands on it, man. Number one.
Number one, Mike G.
Number one. You said something during your number one that I really echo with, and my number one has been my number one without question since I played it. And it stuck with me for a very long time. And that number one is The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time.
There it is.
The Legend of
it
Zelda.
is.
Ocarina of Time is the very first game that I beat by myself, no help, 100% it. As a kid on Nintendo 64, I slept over my friend's house every day for a summer because I didn't have a 64, and I bought the game to play at his house, which his mom thought was weird, and which my mom thought was weird. You sure you want to spend money, Mike, to buy a game for a system you don't have? Mom, I want this game so bad. I need to play it. I played Link to the Past on my Nintendo.
Hashtag tough cuts with Link to the Past.
Don't
by
get
the
me.
way.
We have our
Hashtag
honorable
tough
mentions
cuts.
coming up.
Yeah, we do.
But Ocarina of Time was the first mature game I played that put me in my feelings, the music, learning playing the ocarina.
And I was actually going to say, as I talk about the opera, how was playing that ocarina? Because I found that to be a pain.
It was a pain in the butt, but I learned to play that on bass. I learned to play all those tunes on bass.
That's fantastic.
It stuck with me for so long. I used to draw the Triforce all the damn time in books and tablets and notebooks.
I considered
kid.
getting a tattoo once just because it's epic.
It's so epic.
Yeah.
I collected all 100 Skulltulas, all those damn tarantulas floating around the place. I remember how shitty the water temple was, and getting through that. Big Ron's sword, the mirror shield, fighting Ganon at the end. Oh my goodness. Ocarina of Time is a timeless game, and it's one that is definitely a desert island. I play it maybe once every 1-2 years just to get that feeling again.
Just to get the nostalgia back.
And it's just perfect. It's my childhood in a nutshell.
Perfect games, they last for a reason. So,
Yes.
I'm sure all of these games that we've mentioned here today will be around for a long time.
And I'm sure all of these games are games that if you're listening, hopefully these are a couple of games that you kind of can hearken to, and a couple of games that you've played before and maybe have a new interest in playing now.
Absolutely. And with our list, we're going to end up putting this on social media so that you can fill out your own list as well.
Yes, I've come up with a pretty clever way of building your own top 10 list. It's very extensive, and I think it helps you really think about your decisions. So Really quick, we're gonna name our honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions.
So we could just fly through them if you want, because I don't want this to go for too long.
I'll just go through my top 3 honorable mentions.
Yes.
Everything that we said, not necessarily on my list, but they had a place in my heart.
Yes.
Super Nintendo, SNES, Wing Commander.
Wing Commander.
Fucking amazing. Love that game. Love the story aspect. The kill board. Are you freaking kidding me? Please remake Wing Commander. What the bleep is wrong with you?
Why are you guys doing this to me?
NES. Excite Bike.
Yes.
I mean, you know how many times I rode that stupid bike up me and then made my own course. So Excite Bike is on that list. And my last honorable mention is also NES, and probably could have been number 1 on the numbered list in a different time, but Super Mario 3.
Super Mario 3.
I mean,
I had to fight myself. The hardest pick I had to make was between Super Mario 3 and Super Mario World. And they had to fight for that spot.
Yeah.
And I thought about that for a couple of days.
Yeah. So the plumber made it on both my list, and that's surprising even for me. But
it makes you think.
In the end, Super Mario Brothers 3 is such an iconic game, and the Wizard,
yes,
like really so many times watching that, so many hours playing Super Mario 3. It's in the honorable mention. It could go to a desert island with me, and I would be perfectly happy.
Perfect.
Your honorable mentions, Mike.
Real quick, my honorable mentions. I'll do the first one. Since I didn't have any real representation of the 64 on my list, my honorable mention goes to Metroid Prime.
Metroid Prime
on the Nintendo 64
Absolutely.
Was a revelation. It was such a brilliant restructuring of a game franchise. Because I played Super Metroid as a kid. I played Fusion, and Prime was so different but so the same.
Yes,
you got to be an investigator. It Batman Arkham Asylum before Batman Arkham Asylum.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
You're investigating things. You have to learn different plat life. You have to learn their weaknesses. And you have to memorize this stuff and go back and read it because it mattered later in the game.
I'd actually like to see Samus versus Batman.
Right?
Can we do this?
Just put them both in Smash, man. Put them both in Smash. Another game that makes my honorable mentions list is the original God of War.
Original.
Dun, 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 dun. I remember when I was in the EB Games at the time, and I only had a little bit of money in my pocket, can only afford one game, and I had in my hand God of War in Star Wars Episode 3, whatever. And I asked the check guy, I was like, the cashier, which game should I get? Which game is better? He looked me dead in the eyes and says, man, buy God of War. Child, buy God of War. What is your problem, right? And from the blood to the music, I love video game music. It's really a thing for me. And the adult nature of it, like I couldn't play when my mom was around because you may see some stuff in those games.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was just it almost reminded me of Devil May Cry. It was like a new age of Devil May Cry like games.
Yeah,
you run around and do action stuff. You platform.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kratos was a badass in the first game.
Absolutely,
that ending, amazing. God of War, man.
God of War.
And my last honorable mention of a game that almost made this list. And funny enough, the two I want to talk about are two you've already mentioned. So I'll just say Mass Effect 1.
Yes.
I love Mass Effect 1 for some reason. And, well, for many reasons.
Well, it was the start of something.
It was the start of something beautiful. And Contra. I think that would be my for sure number 3 honorable mention is Contra.
Makes another showing.
Hours of playing that with my father. Up, down codes. You got to fight the Queen Alien at the end. Spoilers for a 50-year-old game.
I mean, you talk about aging well. How can so many games on this list have aged so damn well?
Remember the stages where it's like a weird depth of field where your back is towards the guy?
Oh yeah,
it becomes like a weird it becomes like an Occam razor kind of thing where you have to shoot at like a shooting gallery. Like, it was just so crazy for its time.
With the little electric beams.
You get the power-ups that you would steal from your friend because you got to jump higher for that split second.
And I still challenge you to beat it on 3 lives.
No one's doing it. The people who can do it tell people they can do it every day.
Right, yeah, no. You're not beating that game on 3 lives.
Man. So
that was a great time, Mike G. Thanks for having me, and I hope that you guys put your top 10 list.
Give us your top 10. Send it to Masters of the Nerdiverse Cast at gmail.com. I would love to post your top 10s. We can have conversations about your list. No answer is wrong unless you put Def Jam Fight for New York on your list. That's wrong. No. I'm just kidding. No. Put whatever you want on there. And just to give you guys a little snippet, a little taste, if you like this type of show, if you like this type of countdown top 10 format, you can definitely let me know on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, SoundCloud, YouTube, or iHeartRadio. And be prepared, because where video games come, movies aren't that far behind.
Movies are not far behind, and neither are television shows.
Neither are arcade games.
Hashtag J.J. Abrams. Anyway.
Neither are music videos.
Oh, God. Oh, God. I can't even.
I can't
Spice
even.
Girls, it's got to be Spice Girls.
It's got to be wannabe, right?
At any rate. Thanks for having me, and that was a good time.
Absolutely, and I've been your host, Mike G.
I'm Brian.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for being on, Brian. And I will always ask you to take that one step beyond.